Today we are reviewing the AirPods Pro 2. I've had it for quite some time, and this is going to help you decide whether or not it's worth buying. So first things first, the design and build. In terms of the actual AirPods themselves, it's actually pretty much identical to the first gen AirPods. I actually even tried this out myself. It actually fits inside the first gen AirPods Pro's case. So yeah, it's literally the exact same size. And while yes, this is technically a second generation version, it would have been nice to see something different, like at the bare minimum colors, but I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it. And this design for the Pros has always worked, right? You have that rubber tip that makes it stay in your ear as opposed to just the outer plastic on something like the older, just regular AirPods. Because for me, somebody that was part of that small percentage of people where it just doesn't fit, something like the rubber tips is really, really beneficial. So the fact that they kept it the same is good. Where they didn't keep things the same is the case. Now, it's nothing necessarily big, but the case for the AirPods Pros 2 got a ton of little changes that make it actually pretty amazing. Like for instance, it has a lanyard loop so that you don't lose your AirPods. And when I heard that it first had that, I thought it was gonna look goofy, right? Because you'd need a place to attach your lanyard, but it turns out they actually integrated it really nice and really seamlessly. On the utility side of things, they actually added a large speaker to the outside of the case so that if you lose it, you have to ping it for whatever reason, you're able to do that and hear it, as opposed to trying to listen to the AirPods through the case. A couple days ago, I lost my first gen AirPods Pros, and it was so much harder to find it because it's not as loud because the audio has to go through the case itself, whereas on the Pros 2, it makes it 100 times easier to find your case. Something else which may have been the biggest and best change that they added to these AirPods was now the case itself can charge with an Apple Watch charger. This is such a small thing, but was actually a game changer. Like, it actually caused this mental shift where instead of, having to think about charging my case, my phone, and my watch, now everything just became more seamless because the moment that I wasn't using my case, maybe I was at home, I didn't actually need to use my AirPods, I just dropped it on my Apple Watch charger, and I was obviously wearing my watch, so it was just always at full battery. That was so convenient, and now thinking about charging the case was just something that never crossed my mind anymore. There would be so many times where I'd remember to put my phone to charge, put my watch to charge, but would always forget my AirPods case. And now that was no longer a thing, and my case always had battery. That also indirectly makes the battery life on these Pros just hands down an upgrade. Speaking of the battery, the case now allows you to get 30 total hours of listening time. And if you put your AirPods into the case for just 5 minutes, you get a full hour of a listening time. That was freaking amazing. There were so many instances where I was busy doing work in meetings, just using my AirPods, and then all of a sudden it's time to go to the gym where I need it most, and I'd be completely out of battery. Well, now this time around, I'd be able to throw it into the case for just 5 minutes and then be able to easily get through a workout session. That peace of mind in and of itself just made this amazing to use. But now let's get back to the AirPods themselves. With these individually, you get 6 hours of listening time, a step up from the previous AirPods Pros. And for somebody like me that had their AirPods on noise cancellation mode 9 times out of 10, I could really feel that longer battery life. And it came in clutch. Now onto the audio quality and some of the internals like that new H2 chip. Now when it came to audio and music, I'm not gonna lie, I'm no music expert, all right? Honestly, the music to me sounded the exact same. Maybe it was a little bit more clear, maybe a bit more bass, but honestly, I'm just pulling at strings, and I think the average person wouldn't really notice those differences in audio. And that's because, just like the Pros before it, the audio quality from these earbuds is the best on the market. But with this new chip came new noise cancellation technology, and man, I noticed that immediately. The noise cancellation on the AirPods Pro 2s are just on a completely different level. Literally the day after I got these AirPods, I had to walk by this entire street full of construction. It was like the Apple gods knew that I was getting AirPods Pro 2 that day and wanted me to test out how good this noise cancellation was. And let me put it to you guys like this. My first gen AirPods, it would quiet everything, right? There was a bunch of noise, people talking, cars, all that sort of stuff, right? Completely quiet everything down. The Pros 2 completely eliminates it. It's like borderline pitch silence. It's freaking awesome. Easiest way to put it is that if the first gen AirPods Pros got rid of 90% of all sound, then the Pros 2 got rid of 99%. And that by far was my favorite feature. Next up was the touch controls, because this is also where the AirPods Pros 2 got a little bit of an update. See, you got your standard controls, right? Like pause, play, skip music, all that sort of good stuff, right? But with the Pros 2, that's where these AirPods saw an update in the ability to finally add volume control. Do you know how long I've been waiting for volume control on AirPods? Like, the one thing that you definitely need on a wireless earbud is the ability to control volume, and these AirPods finally brought it back. Well, I guess they didn't bring it back, kind of was never there, but you know what I mean. In order to change volume, you just have to slide your finger up and down on the stem of the AirPods Pros. And man, I love this feature and used it all the time. It finally got rid of the annoying need to always take out your phone just to switch volume, which made these so convenient to use, especially in the gym. Now granted, it was pretty awkward trying to get used to it, especially with the position on the stem itself, but trust me, you get used to it and it makes life so much easier. So with all that said, are the AirPods Pros 2 worth it? If you're somebody that doesn't have AirPods Pros already, you literally cannot go wrong with this. We're talking literally the best noise cancellation in the game, top tier audio quality, and an extremely long and useful battery life. But that said, what if you already have AirPods Pros? What if you have the first gen ones and now you're looking at these and wondering if you should upgrade? Not gonna lie, you could probably live without these features. I know, they're great, but you could probably get away with not having them. They're definitely good, but not like run to the store and upgrade good. You know what I mean? Subscribe and check out this video here.